Okay, very good. Okay, then we'd like to call the meeting to order. Good evening. We're ready to begin. This Planning Commission is now called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and is posted in compliance with the open meeting law. We're live on KCLV Channel 2, and this meeting will be rebroadcast Saturday at 10 a.m., the following Monday at midnight, Tuesday at 5 a.m., and Thursday at 6 p.m. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chair Trowbridge.
Present.
Vice Chair Truesdale.
Present.
Commissioner Goins.
Present.
Commissioner Evans.
Present.
Commissioner Quinn. Commissioner Ellsworth.
Here.
Commissioner Flangus.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. I now call your attention to the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process, if applicable. Please read this carefully, and if any of you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate you adhering to these rules so we can have a smooth meeting. Thank you. Let's move on to our housekeeping items. Are there any items that commissioners, staff, applicants, or members of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Mr. Chairman, items 8 and 9, the applicant has requested that these items be obeyed to the December 17th Planning Commission meeting to allow the applicant time to address issues with neighbors. Item 18, the applicant has requested that this item be withdrawn without prejudice. And item 23, the applicant has requested that this item be obeyed to the December 17th Planning Commission meeting.
Could you repeat the item that was withdrawn, please?
Item 18.
18 has been paid. Does anyone wish to speak on any of these items? Please come forward. What's your name, sir?
My name is Robert Coughlin. I live at 7504 Cathedral Canyon Court.
And the item you're concerned with is
the item I'm concerned with is items 8 and 9, currently being held in abeyance, I believe, for the second time until December 17th. We're concerned on that corner next to the pet cemetery that we don't really believe that we need another fast food restaurant.
Okay, one second, please. Would this constitute your testimony for the meeting on December 3rd? Okay, we will allow you the full 3 minutes for your presentation.
Well, Chairman, we're going to need to pull this.
In the record.
Chairman, we'll need to pull this off of the one motion, one vote then.
Okay, we'll pull.
Well, this is off the abeyance.
It's off the abeyance.
Oh, off the abeyance item as well.
Okay, sir, please go ahead. Sorry.
Right. I've been living there since the original development of Deerbrook, which is 16 plus years, and I've seen the area grow and grow and grow. And I've seen the corner of Tenaya and Craig grow and grow and grow. We now have currently 11 fast food and semi-fast food restaurants. McDonald's, Quiznos, Jack in the Box, Popeye's Chicken, Subway. There's a sushi restaurant, name I don't know. A barbecue place, Denny's, Dairy Queen, Timbers, Starbucks, and if you want to include Albertson's Deli. I think we have more than adequate feeding facilities to serve the public in that immediate area. I don't really see any point to an additional restaurant on that corner. If somebody really needs Carl's Jr., then they can go over to Cheyenne and Rainbow, or they can drive a little farther down Craig towards Decatur. I'm concerned that by rezoning this corner, it effectively, we have the camel's nose under the tent. And then the next corner after that will be Craig and Buffalo. There are 2 empty corners there, northwest and southeast. I'm concerned that that will be the next thing to fall. I know a lot of people in the neighborhood, and no one really sees any point to this particular corner becoming rezoned for commercial, and then, of course, the fast food restaurant. It's just not needed. Okay? Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you, sir. Your comments will be incorporated into the record and taken into consideration with items.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on any other items? Please approach the microphone. That won't work. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Geraldine Lee Duke. I live at 3050 North Jones.
The item you're concerned about is?
The pet thing,
Thank
it's
you.
not just a
That's
pet
8 and
cemetery.
9.
Yeah, it's also a people. Now, I don't happen to have people there, but to me, when you've lost a loved one, it doesn't matter if it's a pet or an animal. You grieve, you hurt. Like I go out to my mother at Palm and Eastern. I know she's not there, but I feel better when I sit in the quiet, the beauty. I talk to her, tell her I love her, let her know I miss her, and I do the same thing with my animals. And I feel, as this gentleman pointed out, there are so many restaurants all around on every other corner. We have one cemetery. Our only other choice would be to dig up every single grave and move everybody. And I just don't feel that should, be done. And I'm worried that, to hear, number one, the smell of the hamburgers and the fries and everything, we're trying to bury somebody wouldn't be, too conducive too much. And this is what's going to happen because it's so close proximity to where the animals are, to what I have a soft spot for, to the canine dogs. Because to me, there's nothing like them. I know they'd give their lives for their people. And I feel they just deserve a little spot to call their own where we can all go and grieve for them. And I'm worried again, like even on the other side of the cemetery, apparently there's another, which I don't pay too much attention to, there's another empty place. And I thought, what are they going to do next? Put up a carnival with a merry-go-round music and everything like that? I thought, I don't know any cemetery that has had to tolerate anything like that. And I've lived in about 5 different states in my lifetime. And I just wanted to ask you to please consider this in making your decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Farlow?
Yes, thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. Where's the cemetery that this lady's talking
The
about?
adjoining parcel.
Is that green area that I'm seeing on
Correct.
in that? Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on these items? Come on up one at a time and come up together because it's a minute of downtime between everybody.
Chairman, I didn't know that we were going to take testimony. We didn't open these items, did we?
It's going to save us on the December 3rd. You don't plan on coming back on the 3rd, do you?
I'll be here, but I don't have to talk.
You won't be permitted to talk because
Okay,
this is
well,
your shot.
Then there we go.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
My name is Nick Lorenko. I'm at 7257 Camden Pine in Liberty Mayfield, just across the street from, I guess, the parcel we're speaking on. I just wanted to add to what they've said. There's a great deal of commercial space on the east side of Tenaya here on the map that we have. They just built a 2-story suite, numerous suites that are empty, only 2 tenants. So there's a great deal of commercial space there, as well as a Terrible's Lube that's been in construction for quite a while. And then behind that, there's a larger warehouse that's been vacant for 5, 6, 7 years, as long as I've been in the area. I'm a Las Vegas native, so there's a ton of commercial space. There's really no need for any more until we can fill the space that we have. And then you'll also notice, I guess it would be the southeast corner there behind the Albertsons. They're building, I would assume, more commercial space. They've leveled the area, redone draining there. So there's a great deal of space, and to move another residential area into commercial just, I don't think makes sense. I don't see how anyone could see that it makes sense. So just adding to the pet cemetery being there, there's a cemetery just down the road, just down Tenaya north of the area in question as well, too. Palm Mortuary being there. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the final presenter, you have something new. If this is still about 8 and 9,
This is still about 8 and 9.
that's what I'm asking you, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
My name is Mary Figueres. I live at 10517 India Hawthorne, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's nowhere near the pet cemetery. I'm here for 2 concerns. One, I'm concerned that this has been obeyed 3 times. We've got a lot of people that are very, very concerned about this matter. And I'm almost worried that what's going on is it keeps getting obeyed so that we'll get worn out and not be here in front of you and letting you know how we feel about it. Second of all is my concern about somebody who lives nowhere near this. There's a great deal of respect for the pets there. I don't have a pet buried there, but I have respect for the people who care about their animals. My concern is this property was zoned residential. It was taken into the city from the state. From the county. It should have never been taken out of the county. When the people bought the property, it was zoned residential. That's a conforming use for this area. They made a gamble. They gambled that they could take something which was conforming, make it non-conforming, and then making a lot that's really too small for commercial into something commercial. I say they gambled and lost. And I'm hoping that you'll pay attention to this because it's not just my concern for this piece of property, but I'm looking for what you're looking to do in other parts of the city. Does conforming zoning mean anything? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
I'm looking through our backup material, and the woman who just spoke made a point about this matter having been held, I believe she said 3 times. I don't know whether this would be the third.
Isn't this the second or the...
Well,
this is the second.
It's been a couple, but my point is I think we need to make a finding under Nevada statute that there's a good cause finding to hold this. But I can't find any reasoning in the backup to indicate what the justification for holding it is. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I think we need to assess that.
Yeah, I think that the staff had said that the request was made in order to allow the applicant additional time to work with the neighbors.
That was the last time also, sir.
That's the standard justification.
Never heard a word.
And if I may,
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
We got the idea. Okay, we've had some presentations on the residents or the neighbors' issues on this matter, and it'll be held again. But anyone else wish to speak on any of the other items that have been pulled from the agenda? So seeing none, we'll go ahead and...
Mr. Chairman, before you vote, I just want, for the record, I know that we didn't actually call 8 and 9 forward, but we do need a record in case of challenge. So I would just like there to be an understanding that the testimony that was taken today was for purposes of 8 and 9 and for purposes of the record tonight.
Yes, that's what I told the first speaker, but I didn't say the subsequent ones, but that's the intent.
I think we understood
Okay. Okay, now we'd entertain a motion regarding the housekeeping items.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. With regards to the housekeeping items, I move to follow staff's recommendation to bring those forward and hold those, withdraw the withdrawal on item 18, hold item 23 till December 17th, and hold items 8 and 9 till December 17th.
Very good. Motion has been made. Please cast your votes.
And, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to vote for the abeyance, but I'm expecting that the applicant will again meet with the neighbors because I still don't know exactly what the reasoning is for holding it yet again, but I'll vote for it.
Very good. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries. We now move to the one motion, one vote portion of the agenda. It's items 5, 6, and 7. Item number 5. These are the following items may be considered one motion, one vote. They are considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items. All public hearings and non-public hearings will be open at the same time. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of the Planning Commission not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this part of the agenda. Okay, item number 5 is RQR 36250. The applicant is Lamar Central Outdoor, LLC. The owner is the Boys Club of Clark County, Inc. Its request for a required review of a previously approved special use permit which allowed a 55-foot tall, 14-foot by 48-foot off-premise sign at 2800 Marlin Avenue. Item number 6 is a special use permit 36242. The applicant is It's Mine Now, LLC, is the owner. Transwestern Investment Holdings, Cheyenne Fountains, LLC, et al., for a proposed 1,200 square foot thrift shop at 7450 West Cheyenne Avenue, Suite 104. And item number 7 is site development review 34296. The applicant owner is St. Joseph's Catholic Church for proposed parking lot with waivers of the downtown Centennial Plan streetscape standards on .16 acres at 128 North 8th Street. Staff reports, please. This is 1+1? Okay. Public hearing is now declared open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on these items, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, move for approval of the one motion, one vote items 5, 6, and 7, subject to all staff's conditions.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to vote on the one motion, one vote items, but I'm going to abstain on number 5 due to the fact that Boys and Girls Club is a client of the company I work with.
Thank you. Let the record reflect his abstention. Please post. Motion carries.
Items 5 and 6 go forward to the City Council on December 16th, and item 7 is final action in the absence of appeal within 10 days.
Item number 10 is a general plan amendment 36074. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. It's a request to adopt an updated population element affecting all wards. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission, we have before you this evening an update of the city's population element. As we had discussed in your workshop several months ago, what we would like to do this evening is make a brief presentation on the proposed update, and then what we would ask you to do is to hold the item in abeyance for 2 weeks, giving you 2 weeks to review the proposed update, and then we can have discussion and actual action on the item at a planning commission later. What I'd like to do is, again, just go over some of the changes that we're proposing. If I could have the next slide, please. The city's population element was originally adopted in 2003, and the way Las Vegas grows, over the past 6 years, there's been a number of changes, and so we do need to address this in our population element. One of the questions you might have is that we are embarking on our national census next year. Question might arise, why don't you wait until next year to update this element? What this element really addresses is not so much our decennial census, but rather how do we accommodate growth and how do we provide services as the city grows? If I could have the next slide, please. So while we do address issues such as demographics and the composition of the city, one of the things that the element really talks about is the provision of services. If I could have the next slide, please. There are some finite limits to some of the services that we have in the city. For example, our wastewater treatment plant. It's built to a certain capacity, and there are other things such as water, solid waste, and air quality that are all dependent upon our population. And so it's important that as we grow as a city, as our population increases, we're able to accommodate that in our future planning to be able to provide the same quality of service to our residents. If I could have the next slide, please. In order to do that, what we have done is we have made 4 recommendations. Let's see. There we go. Thank you. Recommendation number 1 is relative to doing an annual estimate of the city's population. Now, this is something that we are already in the process of doing, and we do submit to our state demographer. But again, in order for us to stay up on all of the services that we provide to the city, it's important that we have a handle on how we are growing. This is really evidenced by what we have seen in the last year and a half, the last 2 years, with the change in the economic status here in the Valley, that our population has not grown as quickly as it has in the past. And so again, it's important for us to do this on an annual basis to assess where we are in terms of the provision of services. Our second recommendation that we are making to you is to lead and participate in regional annual population projection programs. We cooperate with other agencies in the Valley, most notably the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition and the Regional Transportation Commission, in doing population projections, which helps us to do planning on a valley-wide basis in terms of transit, in terms of our regional plans. And so it's important that we as a city contribute to those efforts and participate with other agencies here. Recommendation number 3 is to lead and coordinate local census programs. Again, as I had mentioned, we do have our national census coming up next year, And the census is really an important thing for us in terms of making sure that we do get an accurate population count. This has quite an impact for the state of Nevada in terms of the federal dollars that we receive and what we are able to do for our citizens here in the state of Nevada. And then finally, our fourth recommendation relative to the population element update is to monitor population change on an annual basis as it applies to level of service. In some of the other elements of our master plan, for example, our parks and recreation element, if I can get that out, we talk about being able to provide recreational facilities based on population. For example, we need to have X number of swimming pools per X number of population, or community centers or neighborhood centers and things like that. And so it's important that we look at those levels of service and evaluate those on an annual basis to make sure that we're able to stay up, and more importantly, that we can budget for those types of services as we look at our capital improvement program. So those are the four recommendations that we are proposing as part of this population element update. Again, what I would ask from you this evening is that we hold this item in abeyance for 2 weeks, gives you a chance to review it, and then if you have questions, if you have recommendations and input, we'll go ahead and take that at your next Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you very much. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please come forward, give your name for the record. Mr. Farlow.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. Has this been heard at the recommending committee yet?
No, it has not.
Does that come after the Planning Commission has?
Yes, it does come after the Planning Commission.
Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn over to planning staff or the commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we hold this in abeyance for 2 weeks so we can review it and come back and act upon it at that time.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11 is zoning 36094. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. It's from R1 Single Family Residential to CV Civic at 6320 Plaza Verde Place. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, this request would rezone the subject site from R1 to CV, which would allow conformance with the existing PROS, Parks and Recreation, and Open Space land use designation. As the kinds of uses allowed in the proposed CV zone, including the existing city park, are consistent with the existing land use designation, staff is recommending approval of this request. If denied, the existing residential zoning would remain non-conforming to the existing general plan land use designation. Please note that 5 protests and 2 letters of support have been received for this item since publication.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open now, and anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if no discussion, I'll make a motion for approval of item 11, ZON 36094, subject to all staff's recommendation and condition.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll go forward to City Council on December 16th.
Now move to item number 12, zoning 36095. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Is from R1, Single Family Residential, to CV Civic at 2221 Maverick Street. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the existing zoning of R1 is not compatible with the current land use, which is PROS, Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. The proposed CV zoning district would allow conformance with the existing land use designation, and staff recommends approval. Please note we did receive an additional protest after publication.
Thank you. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
My name is Jean Gibbs. I live at 2201 Latitudes Court, right across the street from the small park. We came to the Planning Commission with a lot of things that have happened in our neighborhood, and we've been told to be good neighbors, and we have. We feel that any change in the zoning here is going to just put more pressure on this little area, and we're concerned about that, and we don't want that to happen.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. I think staff could address this lady's concerns, but I don't believe what we're reviewing here tonight will change the impact of what is existing. It just puts a civic zone instead of a residential zone. It won't allow any additional impact or change to the neighborhood, at least as we can see.
Mr. Chairman, through you, that is correct. The park will remain. It'll be a park. It'll be a park in the future, and the CV zoning just brings it in conformance with the land use plan, which is parks and open space.
And if there are no other comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval, subject to all conditions.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Goes forward to council December 16th.
Now go to item number 13, which is zoning 36096. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Is from R1 Single Family Residential to CV Civic at 1800 Wildwood Drive. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, this request would rezone the subject site from R1 to CV, which would allow conformance with the existing PROS, Parks, Recreation, and Open Space land use designation, as the kinds of uses allowed in the proposed CV zone, including the existing city park, are consistent with the existing land use designation. Staff is recommending approval of this request. Please note that 3 protests have been received for this item since publication.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open and invite anyone in attendance who wishes to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, I make a motion that we follow all staff's recommendations for approval of the subject item.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Goes forward to council December 16th.
Now move to item 14, which is the variance 36271. The applicant owner is Dino Marino, Marino, I'm sorry. To allow a 14-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required for a proposed 327 square foot addition to an existing single-family residence at 1717 Chapman Drive. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to build a garage addition on the front of the residence that will encroach 6 feet into the setback area. This will result in a driveway of less than 18 feet, so that any vehicle parked within that driveway area would encroach into the sidewalk area. As such, staff cannot support the variance request, as the applicant has not provided a compelling evidence of a unique or extraordinary hardship and has created a self-imposed hardship. Staff is recommending denial. Please note we have received additional protests and letters of support after publication.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make a disclosure.
Go ahead.
I discussed this with the city attorney, and I feel comfortable voting on this matter. I've known Mr. Marino, a good friend of mine, one of my very best friends. We've been to school since 4th grade together. We don't have any business dealings or any formal contracts. I don't owe him any money. He doesn't owe me any money, and I feel I can be unbiased in voting on this.
Mr. Chairman, I live in the notification area. Mr. Marino is a neighbor of mine. I recently met him. I don't have any financial dog in this race one way or another, but in light of the fact that I'm sort of the de facto neighborhood leader, and I put out when I get around to it, neighborhood newsletter, as I say, with the abundance of caution, I will be abstaining on this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the disclosures. Okay, now the public hearing is open. I'd like to invite anyone in attendance who wishes to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name, state your case.
Yeah, my name Dino Marino at 1717 Chapman Drive. I'm looking at expanding my garage to include 4-car garage. I've invested in antique cars, and so I like to have them covered in my garage and the security of my garage. The driveway, as you can see in the subject property, I have an oversized lot and roughly a 66-foot long circle driveway in front of the house itself. No cars will be parked in front of the garage. They have a circular driveway to park, and they have, if you look at the street scene, it's a 36-foot wide street, so it's an older neighborhood. I was raised on that street 47 years ago. I moved back to the neighborhood coming through. There's very little or no street traffic or limited parking on the street itself. Most of the people that actually at my house, they park in the circular driveway because it holds 6 cars whenever I have anybody at my home. So what I'm looking for the variance is to actually just expand the garage so I can actually park all my cars under garage.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on this
I
matter?
also have. I'm sorry. I also have the neighbors from both sides of my house as well as across the street. They have no problem. They've approved for me to expand my garage.
Thank you. Want to give that to the city clerk so she can keep it on file? Anything else, Mr. Marino?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak, please state your name.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. I'm sure I know the answer to this, but that's a beautiful home. Will the materials match? Is it going to blend in?
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think the applicant has presented that he's not going to impact the neighbors. The neighbors are in support of it, and it doesn't look like it's going to impact the visual impact on the house. So I'll make a motion for approval, subject to all staff's conditions.
Motion has been made. Please cast your vote. Post. He's an abstention. Motion carries.
And that'll go forward to the City Council on December 16th.
We now move to item 15, Special Use Permit 36172. The applicant is GL Dragon LLC for a proposed 7,800 square foot supper club in a former supper club at 1050 South Rampart Boulevard. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing a supper club to be located within the Boca Park Shopping Center in a tenant space that was previously approved for use as a supper club. The business license for the previous use was marked inactive on 10/14/08, and the special use permit subsequently expired 6 months later. The proposed use is consistent with the conditions of approval for a supper club use and can be conducted in a manner that is compatible with the adjacent surrounding uses. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this request. Please note that 2 protests and 2 letters of support have been received for this item since publication.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I'm Bob Gronauer, 8345 West Sunset Road. I'm here representing the applicant and property owner in this matter. It's a special use permit for a supper club. And the building has previously been approved for a supper club, and that use permit expired. And we are asking for a new special use permits. Staff is recommending approval, and we accept all the, if approved, conditions.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no other comments, I make a motion for approval subject to all staff's recommendations.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
Council 1216.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Take care.
Thank you. Now we go to item number 16, Special Use Permit 36241. The applicant is Funnies 2. The owner is Rancho Del Mar LLC for proposed liquefied petroleum gas installation over 288 gallons at 3550 North Rancho Drive. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to replace the existing 250-gallon propane tank with a new 1,000-gallon tank. The applicant previously had been approved for a special use permit for this use, but it was not exercised and expired on December 5th of 2008. The proposed use is compatible with the surrounding commercial uses, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I'd like to now declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Hold on just a minute, Mr. Chairman. I need to abstain on this matter. I represent Funnies 2, the Rancho Del Mar LLC, so I'll be abstaining on this one.
Thank you for the disclosure. Ma'am?
Melba Nielsen. I live at 4302 Skywalker Avenue. I'm here representing the applicant. Just to answer any questions if you had any about the process we're asking for.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on the matter?
Yes, Juanita Clark, and I'm here on behalf of Charleston Neighborhood Preservation and as a member also. So I don't know if you received a fax from us at a very late moment, but we just became aware of the. Are you able to hear me even though this is bobbing around?
Yes,
okay,
sure.
Okay. We understand that the criteria for the reason it said over 288 gallons on the application, on the permit, the item, was because the criteria is that there are only two ways to go on getting gas tanks. And I guess you can get one from 1 to 288 gallons, or you can get one from 288 or 289 gallons up to 1,000. I guess there's two ways to go with that. So we felt that this was extremely unknown to people that this would be going for a 1,000 gallon tank, and that this is not appropriate in the area. There are many, many apartments there, and of course we know that propane is very safe, unless, and so we're here to feel that a special use permit should not be granted at this site in this proximity to homes and businesses. There's a couple of big hay piles across the street from time to time with another business, and we just feel strongly that I don't know if you received any people against this at all, any cards, because a person that I talked to said, the 288 gallons, and they didn't really understand it, and of course, I think that needs to be changed, and that was something that we asked for. And by the way, we do have paper to read to you, so I'll just read our comments here. We adamantly request a denial of this special use permit at this location due to the C1 limited commercial location, which consists of close by dense population housing and other businesses which are in compliance. This special use permit is for a container for 1,000 gallons of liquefied petroleum gas. This amount was not a part of the statement on the public agenda. Planning Department usage of over 288 gallons on the public agenda, as well as on the neighborhood notice cards, which it was mailed to the area, is deceptive due to the evasiveness of the number provided differing from the number of gallons for which the special use permit is actually requested. We adamantly request also that this 1 to 288 gallon or 288 gallon to no limit criteria chart be updated as soon as possible to be of protection of residences. Sincerely. Thank you.
Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter?
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. What is Fanny's? Is this a filling station or a restaurant? What is it?
Convenience store.
Convenience store. And do they sell propane? Is this for sale?
That's exactly what it is.
Well, I just wanted to clear that up. But I came from western Nebraska where we deal with propane all the time, and they would have a lot less evaporation if they put this in the ground. Apparently.
Thank you. I think that'll dawn on them rightly. Just for general information, before they can proceed with any development in this area, they do have to get a special permit from the fire department, which shows that they're complying with all the safety requirements associated with the installation of a petroleum tank up to 1,000 gallons. Just for general information. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, no more questions. I'd move to approve the item.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries. We now move to item number
That matter goes forward to the City Council on December 16th.
We now move to item 17, special use permit 36243. The applicant is Funnies 1. The owner is J.K. Properties, LLC, for a proposed liquefied petroleum gas installation over 288 gallons at 4747 North Rancho. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to replace the existing 250-gallon tank with a 1,000-gallon tank. Staff finds that the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area and meets the minimum requirements for a special use permit and is recommending approval. Please note, staff has added a condition of approval. The existing landscaping does not comply with the landscaping plans previously approved by special use permit U 2594, and a condition has been added to require compliance. Please note, we did receive an additional protest after publication.
I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Melvin Nielsen, 4302 Skywalker Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant.
And will you accept the conditions, including the new one referencing the landscaping?
We will.
Okay. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make a disclosure here. This is Funnies 1. I do not represent Funnies 1, so there's no reason for me to abstain on this matter. I just want to make it clear. There's Funnies 1, Funnies 2. They're owned by different companies.
Very good. Thank you.
That's kind of funny.
That is, oh, jeez. Okay, it's in the hands of the planning commission for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, first step, there's an existing, what's that, an existing tank there?
Propane tank is there.
Less than the 280.
Yes, it's a 250-gallon.
And for the applicant, I'd like, what's the need for the change? I mean, does this meet?
Primarily, the reason for upgrading to the larger tank is to cut down on the number of deliveries from our truck, which is more of a safety concern than having a larger tank on site. This property is selling enough propane that our truck has to go in and fill the 250-gallon tank about every other day, maybe every 3 days. During a holiday season like Thanksgiving coming up, 4th of July, we're in there almost every day filling that tank to make sure he doesn't run out for his customers. So by putting in a 1,000-gallon tank, it actually will hold only about 800 gallons because you can only fill them 80% full. So we can cut down our deliveries, the number of times our truck has to be on his lot with the public dispensing the propane, which puts the fumes in the air more than having the tank there on site.
Okay. And this is primarily for?
Resale.
I mean, but barbecues?
Oh, yeah. Filling mostly barbecue tanks. They might fill some forklift tanks, but mostly barbecue tanks. My camper has propane tanks on it, so people bring their tanks in and get them filled on site.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman, I was just looking back at the notes. This hasn't been a funny since '94, has it?
I don't believe it's been called that since '94.
Okay, because my thing is they've been out of compliance with the landscape all the way dating back there.
As far as we know, and it has been. This was entitled and built. It was entitled in '94 and was built in '95.
So how can we ensure that the landscape's going to be done this time? It's been done that long.
Didn't he say the landscape wasn't in compliance with the special use permit?
In '94, a special use permit was issued for a convenience store to do beer wine. At that time, the city of Las Vegas also did site plan reviews as part of special use permits. And there were conditions regarding the conformance to the submitted site plan at that time.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
So for staffs, I mean, if we approve this and they put this tank, this bigger tank in there, and they haven't upgraded the landscaping, you're not going to give them a use or a certificate of occupancy for that tank.
Correct.
Right?
We will not final permit for the tank.
So they can spend the money, build the tank, have it sit there, and if the landscaping isn't done, that tank will sit there with no propane in it, not being used.
Understood.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have a motion at this point.
If there are no other comments, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Motion's been made for approval. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
Go forward to council December 16th.
We now move to item 19, Site Development Review 35988. The applicant owner is El Capitan MHP LLC, It's a major amendment to approve site development plan review to allow 315 units where 348 units were previously approved, with waivers of the perimeter landscape buffer standards to allow buffer widths of 5 feet along the north perimeter where 10 feet is required, 5 feet along the east and west perimeters where 6 feet is required, 0 feet along the south perimeter where 6 feet is required, and 0 feet between the sidewalk and the back of curb along an arterial street, Bonanza Road, where 5 feet is required at 4901 East Bonanza. Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, this request will decrease the number of units, building area, landscaping, and required parking that was previously approved through Site Development Plan Review SDR 12-128. The applicant is requesting, as part of this review, waivers and exceptions of Title 19 landscape standards, which staff can support as they are minor in nature and will have a minimal impact on the adjacent surrounding properties. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of this application. If this application is denied, development of the site must comply with the previously approved Site Development Plan Review. Please note that 3 protests have been received for this item since publication.
Thank you. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Thank you. Todd Farley, 240 North 19th Street. I'm concerned with the landscaping that's along Bonanza. I mean, is this going to be nice?
Well, I don't know if we have anyone here representing the applicant or not.
Well, that's my concern.
Well,
I mean,
it will be to code. We can only
right. That's the way I want
assure
it.
that.
I want it nice.
Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Did the applicant know this was on the agenda for this evening?
The applicant is informed and sent a letter that the applicant is required to be here for the meeting. Or requested to be here. Yeah, sorry.
Has the applicant indicated a willingness to accept the conditions?
We have not received any communication to that effect.
I would make a motion that we hold this for 30 days.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we can, I would agree with that, but maybe we can trail this until we finish with our other items in the event that the applicant is delayed.
We've got about another 10 minutes of work here.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's, drive fast if you're out there.
Yeah.
San Diego.
There you go. Okay, the motion is to just trail it. So do we need to take any action, Mr. Attorney? You just trail it? Okay, well then, everybody's on alert. We're trailing it. Okay, we now go to item number 20, text amendment 36167. The applicant owns the City of Las Vegas. It's discussion and possible action to amend Table 2 of 19.04.010 and Title 19.20 to modify references to child care uses. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, as a preface to the text amendments that we have on the agenda this evening, first of all, I'll apologize for the number of text amendments. In the future, we will be grouping these together so you don't have so many separate items. Secondly, another justification for the number of text amendments is we have a list of changes that we would prefer to make prior to rolling out the first draft of our form-based code. And so you will see a number of these text amendments coming, and then again, our form-based code is a project that we've been working on, and hopefully we'll have that to you here shortly. The first text amendment that you have for consideration this evening is relative to our definitions for child care. Number one, what we are doing here is to correct the title that we have in Title 1904 with the definition in Title 1920. And then secondly, there has recently been a change to the licensing procedures, and so we're updating our language in the zoning code to reflect that, and we would request your approval of this item.
So under this,
Okay, let me open the public hearing. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone as the public hearing is now open. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion. Mr. Truesdale?
So with regards to this, before everything was basically business license regulations that governed it, and there was a recent change at the legislature that put this under state of Nevada?
Yes, I believe in May of 2009 there was a change that the city's business licensing division no longer does the licensing for child care, but rather it is done by the state.
But the city still gets a business license?
None? No, we do not.
No revenues?
No.
Well, doesn't sound right, but thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for the text amendment.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Please post. Thank you.
And that'll go forward to the City Council in ordinance form.
Item number 21 is text amendment 36168. The applicant owns the City of Las Vegas. It's discussion and possible action to amend Title 19.18.040 H and J to revise provisions related to the rezoning of a parcel of land by the Planning Commission and City Council. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, as you'll remember, 2 years ago we made changes to our process for rezonings in that we no longer do resolutions of intent. Consequently, we need to revise the language to reflect that we no longer do conditions of approval with our rezoning, but rather those conditions are applied to either the site plan or a special use permit as the case may require. Also, what we would like to do here is clarify that split zoning is not allowed, but rather that zoning follows parcel lines. And so those are the two changes that we are proposing this evening.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion. Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Motion has been made. Please cast your votes. Motion carries.
Go forward to council in ordinance form.
Item number 22 is the text amendment 36169. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Discussion and possible action to amend Title 19.06.120 to clarify references to parking requirements within the downtown entertainment overlay district. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, again, this is an item to clean up language in Title 19. There's a reference in the entertainment district language that states that we don't automatically apply parking requirements. We also have that language in the Downtown Centennial Plan. What we're doing to avoid confusion is we're taking it out of that section of 1906 and leaving it in the Downtown Centennial Plan. So there is no change to the parking requirements per se. We're just eliminating the second reference, if you will.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If there are no comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote and post. Motion carries.
Goes forward to council in ordinance form.
We now move to item number 23. 24. Applicant owns the City of Las Vegas. Discussion. It's the text amendment 36171. The applicant owns the City of Las Vegas. Discussion and possible action to amend Title 19.06.060 to revise references to the downtown overlay district to correspond to the downtown Centennial Plan. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, in Title 1906, we use the term downtown overlay district, while the Downtown Centennial Plan obviously uses that name, Downtown Centennial Plan. They are one and the same thing, and so in order to eliminate confusion, we're changing the reference from Downtown Overlay District to Downtown Centennial Plan and would request your approval of that change.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendations for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes and post. Motion carries.
Forward to council in ordinance form.
We now move to item 25, text amendment 36235. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Discussion and possible action to amend Title 19.10.010, subsection J, to provide design standards for parallel parking spaces. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, while we have had parking dimensions for our standard parking spaces and compact spaces, we have never adopted a dimension for parallel parking spaces. The dimension that we are proposing is 9 feet wide by 23 feet in length, and we would request your approval of that addition.
Thank you. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Turn the matter over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification for the staff. Does that anticipate the extraordinary lengths of some of the trucks that we see on the road today? And the case in point, and the reason I ask, is because as you enter and exit the Planning and Development Department's own parking lot, it's often difficult to maneuver because there are excessively long trucks parked in the
I will say this, Mr. Evans, Commissioner Evans, that standard parking space is 9 feet wide by 18 feet in length. The parallel space has an additional 5 feet in length to allow for maneuvering, as it's slightly more difficult to maneuver into a parallel space. So while it is longer than the standard space, I'm not sure that it's going to accommodate the rather large vehicles that we have. But again, it is more generous than a standard space, yes.
I could just never figure out why a soccer mom needs a truck longer than a city block. So, but I'm assuming I'm relying on your expertise, and you're telling me it's appropriate.
Well, for staff, I know we're dealing with parallel parking here, but it seems like in the downtown area, there's more examples of diagonal parking or angled parking, no straight in, which for years was a no-no in the downtown. But it seems like more and more. I don't see anything in here to reflect those dimensions. Is that something that we'll see in the future, or?
No, actually, we do have in our table dimensions for spaces that are on an angle, and also drive aisle widths that accommodate angled parking spaces. So that's already in the code. Also in the downtown area, we don't automatically apply parking requirements, so wherever there are special situations, that's something that Planning Commission and City Council can certainly consider as they review site plans.
Okay, so the general angles do coincide with the angles that happen within the parking lots as well. Okay, thank you. If there are no other comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendations for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. And post. Motion carries.
Goes forward to council on ordinance form.
We moved item number 26, text amendment 36325. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Discussion and possible action to amend Title 19.18.030 to revise language regarding general plan amendment actions taken by the Planning Commission and the City Council. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, this item is similar to item number 21 relative to rezonings. Number one, the change that we're making here is that we don't apply conditions of approval to general plan amendments. As I had mentioned before with the rezonings, the conditions of approval will be applied to a site plan or to the special use permit as the case may require. And then secondly, also as with rezonings, that we don't do split land use designations, but rather with future land use designations, those will follow property lines. Those are the changes that we are requesting approval of this evening.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Motion has been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
Goes forward to council on ordinance form.
We now move to item 27, text amendment 36326. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. Discussion possible action to amend Title 19.18.050 subsection H and Title 19.18.060 subsection M to correct language and to allow administrative approval on non-material changes to previously approved site development plans and special use permits. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, this text amendment is to clarify the definitions for minor and major amendments to a site plan and also to special use permits to clarify when those are required to come back before Planning Commission, City Council, and when they are not required to do so. One of the changes that this clarifies and that this makes is that it does allow for a 10% plus or minus administrative approval of changes to things such as height, setbacks, as long as those changes are consistent with zoning district requirements. What this will hopefully do is eliminate the minor changes that you sometimes see coming back to you when an applicant has an approved site plan where they have to adjust the position of the building slightly or make some minor adjustments to their landscape buffers or to their parking lot configuration or things like that. And so again, what this is proposing to do is to clarify exactly what is a minor amendment to a site plan, what can be done administratively, and then what needs to come back before Planning Commission and City Council.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give their name for the record. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
If there are no comments, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendations for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Goes forward to council in ordinance form.
We now go to item number 28, text amendment 36-429. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. It's discussion and possible action to amend Title 18.22 and 19.1801 subsection C to allow application to the city manager for a waiver of application fees previously set by resolution of the City Council for certain land use applications made by Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition and members and those entities whose RNRPC is required to integrate long-term planning programs pursuant to NRS. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, currently the only provision that we have within local or state law for the waiver of fees for any applications that come before the city by other public agencies is with regard to the Clark County School District. We have had applications that have come forward by other entities and with a request for a fee waiver, and there currently is no provision to do so. What the city staff has researched and what we believe may be an appropriate way to move forward would be to look to state law again with regard to the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition, whose members are defined in state law as the other cities within the jurisdiction and the county. And then there's a reference to members and their entities with whom the coalition is required to integrate our long-term planning efforts. These entities would then also be able to apply for a waiver for projects that come before the city. That is what is placed before you this evening. If you wish to recommend your approval of allowing for these agencies to apply for a waiver, this includes the Air Pollution Control Board and the Regional Transportation Commission. Staff does not have a recommendation on this matter.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open and turn the matter and invite anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name for the record. State your case. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further comments, I would make a motion to approve this item.
I acknowledge the motion, but just for the record, I'd like to comment that most of these fees are relatively minor in nature, rarely exceeding $1,000, and at which time the cost to the two public agencies involved don't offset the cost associated with cutting a check and accepting a check and all the necessary record keeping associated with a smaller amount. So with that having said, motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. We now move to item number 29, text amendment 36-430. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas. It's a discussion and possible action to amend Table 2 of 19.04.010 and Title 19.20 to modify the applicable zoning districts and conditional use regulations for the transit passenger facility and define park and ride.
If I may, Chairman, just to go back very quickly to number 28, that item will move forward to the City Council in both ordinance and resolution form. Thank you.
Very good. We were concerned about that. Item number 29.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission, we are finally coming into the home stretch on the text amendments. This last text amendment is relative to park and ride facilities. We have not had a definition in our code for park and ride facilities, and previously have grouped them as transit passenger facilities. What we would like to do is to add that definition, and then also to allow park and ride facilities as a conditional use in the C1, C2, and CPB zoning districts, and as a permitted use in the CM and M zoning districts. What this will help us to do is to do a better job of accommodating transit in the city of Las Vegas, and so we would ask for your approval of this item.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Invite anyone in attendance who wishes to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Yes, thank you. What date will this go before the recommending committee?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Please.
We don't have a date yet. Those will be set for us by the city attorney's office when they get to them and posted at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Now,
Chairman.
declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, for staff, on these, when you talk about loading and discharging passengers for bus or train, like the 3rd Street or the Ace bus line downtown, is there facilities that is contemplated by that, or are we talking about the RTC's park and ride type facilities?
We're talking about the RTC's park and ride type facilities.
Okay. This hasn't changed the normal bus stopping impact on that? Okay. Then if there are no other comments, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Motion has been made. Please cast your votes. And post. Motion carries.
And just so that the chairman is aware, because he is so terribly concerned, this matter will go forward to the city council in ordinance form.
They are the ultimate deciders, so we're glad about that. We can now return to item number 19, which was tabled to trail the items because no one was in attendance to represent the applicant. Is anyone here in the audience that would like to represent the applicant? Mr. Farlow, you have anything you want to represent him?
I just want a nice long bonanza.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we did attempt to contact the applicant, but there was no answer at the number provided.
Thank you. Then the motion's in order, probably.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I would move to hold at least 2 weeks. Okay.
Motion's been made to hold it 2 weeks. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries. We now move to item number 30, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited.
Thank you.
Chair
Todd Farlow,
recommends-
240 North 19th Street. The last 2 times I showed up at this place, the doors were locked. I need to know the dates of the meetings, because evidently you guys have moved them around because of the holidays, is what I understand.
In the months of November and December, the Planning Commission is 1st and 3rd Thursdays, because otherwise it would be Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and also adjourn the motion, or adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.